a day after the HRD minister announced that the syllabus for CBSE would be cut by 30% for class 9 to 12, there's now controversy over what's been cut. Some of the subjects which have been dropped, or some of the topics which have been dropped, are secularism, nationalism, citizenship, demonetization and others. Mamta Banerjee amongst the opposition and others have raised questions on why these topics were chosen to be dropped. The CBSE has said there's no larger political motive. This is all for the good of students.
The CBSE has cut 30% of the syllabus for classes 9 to 12 for the academic year 2020-21. Key chapters like democratic rights have been deleted from the class 9 syllabus. Class 10 students will no longer have to read about democratic politics, gender, religion, caste, popular struggles or challenges to democracy. Chapters on federalism, nationalism and secularism have been deleted from the class 11 syllabus as well.
तो बच्चे बोर्ड एग्जाम में 100% का टेंशन न लें, इसलिए हम लोगों ने इसको रैशनलाइज करने का प्रयास किया। कुछ ऐसे चैप्टर्स हैं जो सिमिलर टाइप के चैप्टर उस बुक में मिलते जुलते एक से ज्यादा थे, तो ऐसे चैप्टर्स, टॉपिक्स, कॉन्सेप्ट जो सिमिलर थे उनको कम करने का प्रयास किया गया।
Many have questioned the decision to cut these specific topics, but there are many who support the decision.
ये अपने अपने ढंग से देखने की बात है। आप सारी किताबों में देखिए, कक्षा 1 से 10 तक आपको निश्चित रूप से वहाँ पर अभी भी नेशनलिज्म भी मिलेगा, डेमोक्रेसी भी मिलेगी, डेमोक्रेसी के बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स मिलेंगे। ये सवाल यूँ पूछा जाना चाहिए कि बच्चे कब तक बस्ते का बोझ ढोते रहेंगे।
Government sources have told NDTV that the pandemic has resulted in a loss of teaching hours. Certain topics that find themselves repeated have been pruned down, that the opposition is selectively highlighting the cut down syllabus. Concepts have not been obliterated, repetitions have simply been avoided. Even nationalism is removed. If the opposition allegation is true, why would we do that? That this is only for a limited period of time and needs to factor in the plight of students struggling under these difficult circumstances, that the allegations made by the opposition are insensitive to the children. With Himanshu Shekhar and Saurabh Shukla in New Delhi, Anusya Mathur for NDTV.
Well, joining me for our special debate on this, I'll be joined by a larger panel, but also, of course, I'm joined by Dr. J.S. Rajput and Yogendra Yadav. Both of them have been closely associated with education as, of course, the head earlier of NCRT, and Yogendra Yadav, who besides being the head of Swaraj, also, of course, was the author of various textbooks. First, over to you, Dr. Rajput. What do you think about this whole current controversy about the dropping of these topics?
I am not worried about any controversy. I am worried about the children. I am worried about their tensions. I am worried about the uncertainty under which they are finding themselves at present. And I am extremely happy that a step which should have been announced much earlier has really been announced. To me, there is nothing to be controversial about. No chapter has been removed. Only the concession has been given that from these chapters there will be no examination questions. Fine, why should I worry about anything? Everything is available. And this is something which should be examined only from the point of view of factual situation, children, the problems that children are facing at present, and we should also have full trust in our institutions. CBSE is a very credible organization with a national, international repute, and when it takes a decision, there is a process. Whether it is NCRT or whether it is CBSE, there is a huge process which undergoes, and they have gone through this process. I know that for the last 30 years.
Okay, so
I would like to
so
everybody
I take your point.
to remember.
This is not about a controversy. This is actually about a good thing, reducing the burden on children at this time. Let me bring in.
I reject the controversy.
You reject the controversy, right? Let me get in Yogendra Yadav on this point. What do you feel, Yogendra? Do you think that this is a controversy created out of nothing from the West Bengal Chief Minister, etc., tweeting, let's just focus on the kids and whether they're happy or not?
Sonia, let's separate two things. One is the fact that the course should be reduced. The second is what exactly should be reduced when we reduce the course. On the first, I am with NCRT, I am with CBSE, I am with Professor Rajput. Given the very uncertain situation in this particular academic session, I think it's only reasonable that we cut out, we reduce the burden of syllabus. In any case, the burden of syllabus should be reduced even in good times. So I'm with them. The question that we are debating right now is, when we decide to cut out, let's say 30%, CBSE says so let's accept it. CBSE is in a better position to judge whether 30% should be cut or 20 or 40 or whatever. What should be cut out? What is the core and what is not the core? That is what we are debating here. Sonia, in this country, I think to my mind, for the first time, the idea of citizenship was debated. I can't remember ever citizenship being an issue in this country. It was debated. And then within a few months, if the chapter on citizenship is dropped, it is a problem. In a country where the Prime Minister announces, the first thing the Prime Minister says about after winning the election is, we have made sure no one talk about secularism. In that country, when the chapter on secularism is dropped, it is an issue. In a country where there are very, very serious questions about human rights right now in the country, about independence of judiciary and how it handles issues of human and civil rights, if the chapter on human rights is dropped, that is a question. These are things we should be debating. We should not get into a silly debate about whether the syllabus should be reduced or not.
No, of
Let's
course.
focus on what should be reduced.
In fact, let
What
me get
is
in
the core?
Atishi on this. So, of course, Atishi also has been instrumental in the education policy of Delhi government schools. But Atishi, just to ask, interestingly, it was Manish Shishodia who had first asked that syllabus must be cut, that board exams should be cancelled. We saw at that point the CBSE and central government didn't agree, but all that has actually happened. In fact, the Delhi government wanted to include subjects like Desh Bhakti in the syllabus. So, what's your take on today's view? Cutting syllabus, I think everyone agrees is good. But is the choice of topics, as Dr. Rajput said, it's fine, it's a process. Yogendra Yadav points out citizenship, etc., is key at this point. What's your feeling on this?
See, I think, Sonia, first of all, of course, I would like to reiterate that we do support the reduction of the syllabus, and not just under the circumstances of this pandemic. I think even otherwise, this country and its children and its education system would do well if we were to actually, they would probably learn more if we were to reduce the content of the syllabus that we teach them. That's number one. Number two, about the content, about the nature of what the deletions are. If I was to give the benefit of the doubt to the CBSE, I would then say that if they had cut out a chapter maybe on fundamental rights, we would be sitting here and discussing that why has the chapter on fundamental rights been deleted? If they had deleted a chapter on the Constitution, we would have been discussing why the chapter on Constitution or equality has been deleted. So I think that risk will always be there whenever any deletion happens, and that too from a subject like the social sciences, where definitely any constitutional principles, if they are not being taught, do raise eyebrows. I think that what really the CBSE needs to come clean about is that when they have released this document which says that what is the process, they have gone into quite a lot of detail that we got these many suggestions and this is what we did. I think what they really need to present is a rationale as to why some specific topics have been deleted and others have not been deleted. Because till that happens, yes, questions will be raised, because it does seem that there are some ideological rather than educational reasons behind which some topics has been deleted. So I think really if CBSE needs to come forward
and explain that process, I think, which Dr. Rajput mentioned.
No,
but of course,
and not just the process, but also the rationale.
The rationale, as you said.
Maybe they. Yes. Absolutely.
But of course, Atishi, first I have to say welcome back. You've just recovered from Corona, so it's great to have you back arguing as lucidly as ever. So it's wonderful to have you back. But I just want to go across. You said on the rationale. So Amita Wattal, one thing which has been dropped, no one's disputing, is demonetization has been dropped from business studies. Perhaps that's not something our students should be learning about. But as a principal, as one of our foremost teachers, Amita Wattal, what's your take for students and teachers on this? Because really, actually, you all are the key stakeholders in this.
Firstly, I hope I'm audible to you.
Yes.
No, firstly, I'd like to say that we're absolutely relieved, parents, teachers, students, that the CBSE has come out with the chapters that we need to go forward with. So at least there's a way forward and we're not anxious. Having said that, I think, as an educator, these are very difficult times. And these are times when we have been looking at, let's do something different with concept-based learning. Now, the point here is that a lot of the material that has been removed has been dovetailed in other chapters. as a teacher of social sciences, as a teacher of political science, it's very important to be sort of transparent, to be personally accountable to what is being taught to children. So this gives a great opportunity to us as teachers. And if, for example, secularism has been dropped or federalism has been dropped, it can be brought in other chapters which are talking about, say, for example, there are chapters over here which talk about the outcomes of democracy. Now, within that, why should a teacher not bring in secularism?
Right.
Why should a teacher not bring in citizenship? There is an entire chapter on liberty, which can talk about human rights. Then there is a chapter which talks about security has been dropped. But then that can come in a different aspect in the United Nations, when we're talking about United Nations agencies. It's time that we stop saying, let us look in education in silos.
Absolutely.
We have to look at it in a bigger concept, in a bigger manner.
I think
and say that everything is important of what we teach.
No,
and now the onus is on the teacher.
No,
the
absolutely.
onus is on the teacher.
And I think also, I think the main point of what the CBSE used, core concepts. How do we look at core concepts of India today, whether it's democracy, citizenship, our rights as citizens, nationalism,
So,
what does it all entail?
I just want to come in here and say that we should stop doing this nitpicking. I think it's time that we as teachers understood that we have to change the way that we're looking at learning. It has to be neural networks of learning. Everything, if it is environment which is being knocked off, we can talk
absolutely.
about
I mean, environment and issues like that, perhaps also issues like Desh Bhakti, demonetization, education is a vast Pandora's box. We need to focus that there's no agenda behind it. I think that's key. But the good news, the syllabus has been cut. At least we are all in agreement on that. That shouldn't be just this year, but I think for all the years to come. Thank you all very much to my panelists for joining me on this.